Hello, welcome to my side of the mountain. You want to learn how to make these little fluffy bows and put a little hairband hair tie on these, elastic hairband hair tie. Let me show you how. It's easy. You don't have to print off anything, just measure and cut. I've made this easy for you. And we can add these, we can sew these strips up and add them to a hair tie. Let me show you how. We have 5 strips left over from the strips that were cut when we made 5 skirts in one evening. So these were the 4-inch strips. We'll fold them in half. We will sew a 3/8 inch seam. Then we will use a safety pin to turn the tube, and I'll show you how we do that. I used a chain sewing method, and all of these strips are attached. I folded these 4-inch wide by 22-inch long strips. Now I folded them in half. I sewed them with a 3/8 inch seam. Now it is time to turn these tubes or this strip. I will do this one strip for you. I will do this one strip for you. Put the safety pin in, turn the safety pin down to the inside and start turning. Now we'll finish turning, and we have the whole tube is turned. Here's what we do next. Of course, we take the pin out and we finish opening the end there, and then we take this to the ironing board, take all 5 strips to the ironing board after they have been turned, and we iron them flat with the seam in the back. This will be the front, this will be the seam, and let me go do that for you right now. We've taken all 5 strips, have been taken to the ironing board and ironed with the seam toward the back. I'll be working with this pink strip, and I take this strip and I measure off by marking with my thumb about a 2.5–3 inch space of strip. Then I make a loop. I do that by lifting up and placing that strip underneath, so I have a loop. Now, right where my thumb is, I want to pinch forward and then fold back and then hold that with a pinch. I grab my tail, this tail, and I grab hold of it with my hand. This next step, I need to put the hair tie on this portion. This is the working tail. I need to put that hair tie right there. Just going to tuck it in right there and ignore it. Alright, so I have the hair tie there. Now, this is my working tail. I don't want this portion to show, so I'm going to fold this in half. I want to make sure it's evenly folded. There we go. Sometimes you have to work it down the strand a little bit. Fold it in half, wrap it around my thumb, and grab it in the back. Let me show you that again. Wrap it around my thumb and grab it in the back. Now I've got a knot, a half a bow, a tail, and a knot. So I'm going to fuss a little bit here and kind of pull the hair tie to the back. Fuss. I've got half of a bow. I've got a bow end, a knot, and the end, and a tie, and an end tie. So now I've got my working tail, and it's twisted, so this is the front of the work. I'm going to open the knot just a tad bit. I'm going to feed this through the knot. So how I do that is I back out my pointer finger from behind, I set it in front, and I start shoving and feeding the working tail through the knot. And I grab it and I pull it. And I have the beginnings of what looks like a wonderful bow. So I pull this down, I adjust I like to grab that knot sometimes and just pull it off to the side. And I tighten. And now I have an adorable fabric bow on a hairband, on an elastic hairband. Just keep messing with it until you get it the way you want it to look. There you go. How nice is that? And now you have it on an elastic hairband, and it's good to go in a little girl's hair. And trim off your ends, or go in your hair for that matter. Trim off your ends the length that you want them. I don't really want these that long. I think that looks nice. This is a little bit long. I cut just a tad more off that. There we go. Now I'm going to take this to the ironing board. I'm going to start ironing under. And I start pressing under 1/4 of an inch, but I start pushing at the seam. And I push in all the way around. And then I hit it. Finger press it real good. Doesn't that look cute? Then I hit that with a hot iron. You can still adjust these. I'll be right back. Oh yes, I'm back. I've ironed under the little ends. I started again at the seam, pushing that down in, pushed it all the way around, hit both edges with a hot iron. Now you can either, I don't really want to sew this with a sewing machine. You can if you want. You can use a top stitch. Mine is a 3. A top stitch and sew both ends, or you can use a fabric glue or a glue gun. If you use a glue gun, just barely tap the glue down inside and then close those up on both ends. The next step is really important. You need to grab the right bow tail, pull it back. There's an opening. You need to give yourself a generous amount of hot glue in this area, a very generous amount. Then after you do that, you push it back down in there and hold it to make sure it's good and solid. Now you lift up the left bow end rather, the left bow end, pull back the tail, and you hot glue that, and you have, push it all back in place, make sure it's solid, and you have a beautiful bow on an elastic hairband. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on how to make the little bows, fluffy bows with a hair tie. There is also a tutorial on how to make a matching little girl skirt and how to add that fluffy bow to the waistband. Like my video, and please come and visit me again on my side of the mountain.